That's what
All
I'm
right.
hearing.
The president made a lot of news today on a range of topics, on Russia, on Jeffrey Epstein, on Texas, the Fed. But I think in every one of these clips we're going to show, there's text and subtext.
Yeah.
A good German American like you is familiar with subtext. So
I'm just
gonna play them, and you're gonna tell me what you think. And let's start, since you mentioned it, with Russia. Number 5, please. Wall Street Journal headline: Putin feeds. Well, let me just read it here. Trump says Putin feeds U.S. bullshit. Apparently, in News Corp, you can't say bullshit in the headline about ending war in Ukraine. And this, of course, is I wouldn't say the final chapter, but it certainly continues the president's move towards supporting Ukraine and public denunciation of Putin, and continues the ongoing mystery we've dealt with for 10 years, which is what's up with Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Here he is using the B word, talking about Putin and Ukraine. Number 6, please.
But that was a war that should have never happened, and a lot of people are dying, and it should end. And I don't know, we get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin. For you want to know the truth, he's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
Do you want to sanction him? Lindsey Graham has a sanctions bill on Russia. Do you want him to move?
I'm looking at it. Yeah, no, I'm looking. The Senate is passed a very, very tough sanctions. But yeah, I'm looking at it.
And you'd sign that?
It's an optional bill. It's totally at my option. They passed it totally at my option, and to terminate totally at my option. And I'm looking at it very strongly.
Yesterday.
First of all, Hans, is that true that the bill they're considering basically allows Trump to decide to turn them on and off?
Yeah, but most sanctions are like that, right? Anytime you talk to anyone in Treasury on sanctions, they feel like they have the authority to turn up the heat as much as possible. The main question with sanctions is do you do secondary sanctions, which is to say go after the countries that are buying the things from Russia, which was always the debate about the oil question, right? You can do secondary sanctions, but then you're going to drive up the cost of oil, potentially cause a global recession. So that's always been the sort of the question with Russia, and how far do you go on sanctions? To me, it's a little, I don't want to say performative, but like the main question on Trump and Russia and Trump and Ukraine is how much aid is he going to release towards the Ukrainians? Now, if he's uncomfortable doing more of that, and there's this back and forth on the Patriot missiles, he can turn up the volume on sanctions, which, for lack of a better term, can be thought of as like going on offense, right? Still, the president, you and I have seen him slingshot or yin yang back and forth so much like a yo-yo on this. He still wants to preserve his ability to cut a deal with Putin. And that gets more difficult to do if he appears to have his thumb on the scale.